Today is Saturday, December 14th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 47, the finale part 1.
Finale part 1. Awesome. 2-part finale. 2 hours apiece. We got the first part down. We're here together to talk about it, get the take of the other super fans, find out some predictions for how others think this is all going to go down. I'm looking forward to it. I'm eager to hear other viewpoints on how the Final Four is going to play out. Anything we need to cover?
No, we have 21 of our Survivor friends that chimed in this morning, so I'm looking forward to spending some time with them.
Let's dive in with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, my Atlanta. 2 hours of part 1 of this finale, and man, did it deliver. I'm a little bit sad about the outcome, especially the first one, but I'm going to go let out a great big woo! And man, guys, was it awesome. Well, let me start from the beginning, I guess. Rachel, what can you say? From what I see, I think it's hers to lose at this point. The jury clearly loves her. She's played a solid game. Okay, but say she's won all these immunities. What's that now, her third win? How about playing that idol when no one knew she had an idol, blocking Sam's vote? That was pretty epic in my opinion. And getting rid of Ian, it looked like it was going to maybe be Sam, because it kept flip-flopping back and forth, but she got rid of Andy, much to my chagrin. Kudos to Rachel for doing that, but I was sad, because I think Andy would have had a nice story if he made it through fire in the final 3, especially if he was with Teenie and Sue. I think he had a good story to tell, but hey, he went out graciously with a big smile after his horrible performance in episode 1 in the premiere. So hats off to Andy. He did awesome making it to final 6. Okay, real quick, the Genevieve vote. That I kind of knew was going to happen, but to her credit, she showed she's a great poker player, though. It almost panned out for her. They believe she had the idol. Sue and even Rachel did to an extent. It forced them to split the vote there, and it almost spared Genevieve, but not quite enough, and she was voted out. But hey, she had a lot to offer too, and I think if she made it to the end, depending on who she was with, she had a good case for the jury with Saul and some of those other women that I'm sure liked her too, Sierra, Caroline. So we'll see, guys. Final 4. I'll say this, guys. I think Teenie got no shot. She runs her mouth the wrong way. She's hardly ever on the right side of the vote. She hasn't won a challenge. She's more of a goat than Sue. I mean, Sue played her idol, even though it was for nothing. That's really because it was the last time you could use it. You could sort of say she's been a coattail rider, but being one of the oldest people out there, especially the oldest woman, that'll earn a little bit of respect. But I look at it as it's going to be Rachel's number 1. And honestly, if Rachel somehow loses in fire, I could see Sam beating Teenie or Sue. Unless the jury, I don't know, is flip-flop bitter. Who knows? Because I know Caroline likes Sue, too. Well, I think we're in for a very good finish. I think Rachel's my top pick to win, but it should be a great finale, guys. I'm looking forward to who wins fire, who's in the final 3, how the jury operates, and that cuckoo after show with the champagne, which is kind of loopy, because it's so hard for the players to process it. Anyway, guys, take care. Love part 1. Woo.
Whoa, Thanks, Pete. I was hoping for a little more from the interviews, especially with Andy. I wanted to hear a little more about what was really going on, what that regression that he went through was about. He did cover it some, but it was all weak sauce for me. It didn't really deliver at all.
Weak sauce?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's good sauce and there's weak sauce.
I see.
And then there's hot sauce.
Yeah, well, we know you eat a lot of that.
I do. Yeah, I like my Frank's hot sauce. And was there anything good with the Genevieve interviews? It was just more Genevieve, and you get more of that sense. Everyone wants her to be the great criminal mastermind, I think. They just want that vibe, like she had it all dialed in, but she consistently reinforces the fact that she did not have it all dialed in. She often didn't know exactly how things were going to go. So she was even still guarded in the interviews then, it felt like. Well,
what I liked about Genevieve is that she did run all the possibilities through in her mind. It seems like she covered everything you could think of that could go wrong or that might go right, I like that about her.
They gave us that insight into her process, right. Whereas I don't think that's something they had done before. And again, that's what this extra time helps do. It helps you get a little more flavor of how much the uncertainty affects you when you're trying to make decisions out there, how hard it can be to figure out truth from lies.
I would never sleep, and it would run through my brain constantly.
Yeah.
I would be a zombie.
I loved her monologues more than anything. Like during the challenges, she was talking to herself. She was saying pasta or whatever the reward was that she wanted. Potato salad, all those kinds of things. They featured that all along. You get a little bit of that flavor of her through the season. That was good. I enjoyed that little touch too. Good stuff. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts calling in with my feedback for this week's episode. Once again, it is Saturday morning and I am up against the deadline. Have not yet listened to the recap, but I just wanted to send some quick thoughts. Loved the episode. Loved the framing of Rachel versus Genevieve. I feel like the producers really leaned into that in this episode, even though I would not call that a theme of the whole season. It's definitely the theme of this episode. And if Teeny and Sam and Sue think that they are equal competitors to the two of them in terms of a chance of winning, they are not correct. Sam has a decent shot. Sue has done better than most women her age, and I'm glad that she got that idol moment, even though it was completely irrelevant to the entire arc of the episode and season. Close the loop on the paint idol at the very least. And Teeny, I feel like, sort of inadvertently owned in this episode that she's like, oh, okay, I actually have no idea what's going on. And as Sam, I thought Sam's dig was intense, but Teeny did own it of like, oh, if you want information out, tell Teeny, like she's a blabbermouth. And she's like, yeah, I am. I don't know. You got to respect the self-awareness in that instance, at least, which is breath of fresh air from her little tantrum last episode. I am so excited for the end of the season. This has been one for the books. Truly so good. Such good gameplay. Good strategy, good challenges, great people who are playing the game hard, but also are not taking it so seriously and understand it is a game. I feel like that's come up a couple of times. I think it's clearly Rachel's to lose. She certainly could lose the challenge and lose fire, and that's how she gets on the jury, and that would be unfortunate. I feel like if she doesn't win, it's not the best reflection of the season or the most accurate reflection of the season, which is also how I felt about Gabler. That was a good season, I thought, but then such a womp at the end that it's, well, this isn't really, he wasn't a character in the season, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I wouldn't say that is true of Sam, Sue, or Teeny. They were all, I think, the editing this season was very balanced, which is great, but Sam didn't run the game, and Sue and Teeny certainly didn't run the game. So I'm rooting for a Rachel win one way or another, whether it's in the immunity challenge or in fire. If she's there, she wins. I feel like she wins probably unanimously. Maybe a Caroline vote for Sue. But I am really excited to see how this all ends. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thanks, Christiana. Yeah, I got to agree. There's so many times when Rachel was challenged and she stepped up and delivered, or in the case of that advantage where she got to duck out that Saul gave her, she had made a connection or saw something in her that he wanted to work with. He was drawn to her, so he sent the advantage her way and made a lot of this possible. Because Rachel had lost so much agency in the game when she lost to Annika. They were the pair that were working together, and so she got relegated to the sidelines, and once that happened. So it's been a long journey, but she's been delivering, and has been the beneficiary of much luck. So has Sam, so has Sue, so has Teeny in that regard. It's just Rachel's story has been portrayed as more interesting, more eventful, more challenging in that regard.
All right.
Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, Joanne and Stacy and fellow fans. It wasn't quite as fantastic as Operation Italy, but we still had another great episode this week. I actually liked that they split the finale into 2 parts. Andy and Genevieve deserved the extra time showing their exits. Even though I picked him as one of my vote outs in JSFL, I was really hoping that Andy could make it to the other end after last week. I'm just a sucker for the underdog every time. If Andy could have put Genevieve and Sam on the jury to advocate for him and pull off a great performance, thinking of Todd Herzog and China, it would probably have to be at that level. At the end, I believe he could have pulled out a win. It would have made for a great finale. Yeah, it probably would have. It would have been some fireworks, exciting, and as people had all these realizations, because you can tell Rachel's perception of him was not good. She just didn't have a clue what he had been able to do and what the reality was. It's a little ironic that his ego got the best of him in the end after the way he started. He actually gave a pretty good explanation of that horrible conversation with Rachel in his exit interview, though. All in all, I'm so glad we got to see him play. As for Genevieve, I liked her a lot more than I originally thought, and she played a brilliant game. She was actually my first vote-out pick. Still, I was itching to see her flame out brilliantly in the fire-making challenge all season. So hoped she'd make it one more round. Her rivalry with Rachel was so fun to watch, too. It was great to see 2 strong women really respect each other while trying to take each other out. It seems like Rachel has the game on lock unless something crazy happens next week. She would be a great winner, so I'd have no complaints. It might be possible for Sam to win if he takes her out in fire, but I see no path for Teeny or Sue at this point. This leads me to a conundrum. I've never had my USB make the finale. Ooh, congrats. Unfortunately, unless some kind of weird cosmic event occurs, Teeny has no chance to win. Ruh-roh. This makes my picks a bit challenging for the end. I'm hoping to get some insight from the rest of you all and your great feedback. It's been such a great season and can't wait to see how it ends. Thanks, Joanna Stacy. As always, you're the best. Thank you, Tara. Good job.
Well, that just means you have to put Teeny as the winner.
Is that how it works
your
for you?
USB.
Yeah. You always
I don't
stand
have
behind
a
your
USB.
Yeah. I fully understand the need to step back from Teeny when you're trying to pick your final 4 order. That's complete. I don't see any way Teeny wins. Say Teeny wins the challenge. Does that mean the final 4 challenge? Does that mean Teeny wins? No. The Teeny wins in fire making.
Could see her get to the final 3.
Oh, totally gets to final 3, but there's just no win. We were talking about the win and full points for the USB.
I don't want her to get to the final 3, and I probably am going to put her out 4th. But the target's going to be Rachel, so I think so. I think they're if that should happen, then of course she's through to the final 3.
Yep, very likely.
And yeah, no, I hope not. I don't want to see it go down that way.
So there you go.
So sorry,
Tara. Same quandary, Tara. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I thought that part 1 of the finale was a pretty great episode, and it actually went pretty good for me in terms of the Fantasy League. Although I couldn't get the full points this week because I couldn't put a save point on Sue, who I thought was actually the most safe person. I had a bit of poor save point management this season. I'm going to blame that on Kyle. So I could only get 5 out of 6 points, but luckily because I got both vote-offs, I did end up getting that, so that was great. This episode served as a showcase for just how well-rounded Rachel's Survivor game is. She's one of my favorite Survivor players in recent years. She's got really good social skills, and she's obviously very good in the challenges. This episode, she really played Andy like a fiddle, and she has had a lot of luck this game, and I think a lot of people will point that out. But I think sometimes on Survivor, you make your own luck by really playing the game. And I think that Rachel, if she ends up being the winner of this season, I think she will be, I think she'll be looked at as a very good Survivor winner. I think there's a few different ways part 2 of the finale can play out, but I think most outcomes lead to Rachel winning the game. I think that with the upcoming immunity challenge, I think that either Rachel or Sam is going to win it. And if Rachel wins the challenge, obviously she's in Final Tribal Council, she wins. And I think if Sam wins, there's a potential that he could become the winner this season, but obviously only if he challenges Rachel in fire and beats her out. And I think Sam knows that. So I'm not sure whether or not that's going to happen. If Sam does win immunity and decides to take Rachel to the end, I think that he would obviously still lose. I think Rachel's the favorite to win. So that's Sam's only way to get into victory. So how do I see things playing out? Well, I think if Rachel ends up winning the challenge, then I think she'll bring Sue with her, and I think Sam and Teenie will end up making fire. And I think they've actually foreshadowed that a few times, but it's hard to know. I think the editors are starting to catch on that people are looking for that because they show a lot of the different castaways looking at the fire or being behind the fire. So I almost wonder if they're trying to play tricks on us. But that's my guess, is I think that Sam and Teenie go against each other in fire, and if they do that, I think Sam wins. And maybe he ends up getting 1 vote, but I think Rachel will be nearly unanimous in her victory, and I think she will end up being the winner of this season. So that's my prediction for now, but I look forward to hearing everyone else's thoughts. And that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert.
I think a lot of people have good and bad luck in Survivor, but with the good luck, a lot of people have that. I just don't think everyone utilizes their luck.
Capitalizes, yeah.
Yeah, in as good a way as others. And that is also a difference, too. So we've seen that over and over again.
Indeed. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Oahu, and all I could say is, what beautiful retribution. Yeah, Andy, you were great. You really did play well, but that huge move, did it come a week too soon? Did you pull the trigger just a little bit too soon? Because, man, Sue and Rachel were able to maneuver their way out of a pickle, weren't they? It was so beautiful to watch. And here's my question. If everybody was so concerned, constantly so concerned about the fake idol that Genevieve had, why did no one ever consider that Rachel might have an idol? I mean, she's been playing so well. She's been so daft and so amazing at her game. Why was it never even a consideration, never brought up, but what if she has an idol, as they're talking about piling the votes on her? They knew she had the steal a vote, but it was never considered. Could she have an idol too? And she did. It was nice to see her and Genevieve come together as competitors and kind of do the good game, respect your game, respect that we're on opposite ends, but definitely respect what you're doing. And in the end, Rachel was just a little bit better, a little bit more crafty. Now, coming into the final, okay, we've got Teenie, Sam, Rachel, and Sue. And I think it's for Rachel to lose because she's the best at challenges. She is the most strategic. She has the best social game. And she's really the only one who's making moves and thinking things through. Like, if you look at the other 3 players going into the final, what has Teenie done? Teenie's done nothing. She's talked a lot about what she could do, and she's talked a lot about getting back at Genevieve, but she didn't even vote for her when she knew the idol was fake. It reminds me the season that Wendell won, and he had his best girlfriend there, and she kept saying week after week after week, I gotta make a move, I gotta make a move, and she never did anything. Teenie, you never did anything, you got nothing to sell to the jury. Sue, loyal. It was great that she hid her idol for so long, but again, I can't think of anything that she's done that she could sell to the jury. This is what I did. Same with Sam. Since the merge, he's had nothing. So I think if Rachel doesn't win at 4 and she has to go into fire, I think she could actually beat anyone at fire too. So my money is on Rachel, and I'm not sure how the other 3 will pan out. I think if Sam loses at 4, they will definitely vote him out, and she would take Teeny and Sue into the final, who are the goatiest goats of all time. Goats? Yeah, they're the goat of goats. Greatest of all time goats. Anyway, I can't wait to see the final, and it's always bittersweet because the final means we're going to have to wait for the next season and the podcast goes away, and that makes me sad. I hope you all are having a wonderful run up to the holidays, and I just got my final French grade. I got 100s on all my final exams, and my final grade is 100.86, which is not too bad for an old woman trying to right the wrongs of the follies of youth and not doing well in school. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Well, congrats on your scores. Good job. Way to put the effort in this week. I like that. Go to goats.
I expect that the 3 people that aren't Rachel are going to try to target her because surely they know as well that if Rachel's there, they can't beat her. Don't you think they know?
Well, I would say based on what we learned about the perception about how Andy's accomplishments weren't recognized, and with a little more background on Operation Italy that Andy and Genevieve provided, like Genevieve was still very concerned about sitting next to Sam. That it was a nebulous kind of feeling concept she was describing. It's just that his threat potential is off the charts when they're thinking about sitting against him. Maybe it's because he's a sports announcer and he can be so well spoken and he can craft these stories together. That could be a part of it. There is more, he had a role in Operation Italy. Andy did. And that was, talk about luck. Being able to pull all that together, to get to be together on the reward on an overnight stay where they had that extended amount of time to talk about not only what's going to be at Tribal, but what's our story going to be afterwards, how are we going to set this up, thinking multiple steps ahead.
So are you thinking the guys might be more drawn to Sam because there's 4 guys on the jury?
I don't think it's gender-based. I think everyone was feeling that way. No, I just mentioned that because that means he's a good speaker, more than likely. And he can be an off-the-cuff, top-of-his-head kind of good speaker. And that's a super powerful skill to have that communication edge the way that he does, just because of his profession. He's going to be able to spin a story. And then there was this perception of, I don't want to sit beside Sam. Teeny's been harping on that for quite a while. There's been quite a few episodes where that was the big target. She's just scared to death of having to face off against him.
So maybe they don't see Rachel as a bigger threat than Sam?
That's what we don't know. We really don't know. And they don't know a lot of things and how Rachel put things together. You go back and look at how strategic it was to take the risk to go on that voyage. And she did it because she wanted an opportunity to block Sam and Genevieve. Mm-hmm. And then she got there and she delivered on a new challenge that hadn't been done, hadn't been seen before. A new challenge mechanic. So are they recognizing that fully? Are they connecting those dots? Or are they just in the moment trying to survive the next tribal council?
Right.
I think that's a huge part of it. Just like with how Rachel didn't recognize the threat Andy represented, they very likely may not see that in her. Now, Genevieve did. Genevieve and Caroline clocked Rachel early on. They all clocked each other. And they said, oh, look, there's someone with my skills playing my kind of game. I must get rid of them. But not everybody saw that or thought that. Certainly Sam's discounted Rachel for a while now. But if she gets that opportunity to lay the story out, I think it could be super compelling. But how much is that perception of Sam looming over the proceeding?
Well, if I were Rachel, I would definitely want Sam out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and who's the Sam killer? What if it's Sue? What if Sue takes him out in fire?
That would be awesome.
That would be just the chef's kiss ending to Sue's game.
To Sue's game, yes. Yes, it would.
Teeny's likely to fumble it. She would be so anxious, and she probably didn't practice making fire. So
Yeah.
all these things are what's turning around and why I'm so excited to see the
I don't know
finale
if she
too.
could stop talking long enough. She would be going, oh no, and then,
Yeah. Or more than likely to talk herself out of any potential win. Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Been a while since I have had a chance to write in, as we were recently blessed with twins.
Oh, my goodness.
Congratulations.
I'm surprised you found any time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm now a mama of 3 and loving it.
Fantastic.
As for my feedback, I agree with everyone that it's the best cast in a while. A few thoughts. Jeff had stopped saying you'll be asked to leave the tribal council area immediately after a vote out. I wonder if that's why people are taking time to hug after being voted out, or perhaps just more of a loving cast.
I had not picked up on that. I hadn't recognized that at all.
Yeah, I hadn't either. So
well, with his goal to be
great
family
insight.
fun, it does track really well for that.
I think Jeff is giving them the time to just kind of do whatever you want, just see where it goes, instead of trying to direct. Just let
what does
it
Parker
happen.
say? Let the players play.
Let the players play. So I think that might be part of it. As of the episode, I think that Rachel is playing in a league of her own, and it's impossible she won't win. I'm hoping it's not a boring finale for that obvious win. Perhaps she will go to fire. If she does, do you think there's a chance Sue could beat her in fire, as she tends to do it so much? That was always a possibility.
Yeah. And we were talking about that a little bit in the
That
recap.
wouldn't be as fun.
There's one thing to tend it, it's another to get one started in the beginning. Those are different skills, but
Yeah.
could be.
If that were the case, all the soot and dirty face would be worth
There
it.
you go. That's the payoff. I like that.
If she beats Rachel, she could have a chance of winning the entire game with the recent idol, etc. And Sam has Operation Italy, and that is all. I think Teeny will be in the top 3, as she isn't a threat to win,
Yep.
which makes me think it will be Sue and Sam in the fire challenge, or Sue and Rachel. I can't wait to see the reaction of the cast when Sue reveals her age in the after show. Are there any other secrets to be revealed? I can't think of anything.
Just in
Who's
terms
the
of
lawyer?
Genevieve.
Well,
But she
maybe
was open about it.
Yeah.
She didn't hide it.
Should be good. Merry Christmas to all, and hope you are settling in your new home. Stay healthy, happy, and safe. All right. Thanks, Erin.
Yeah.
Same to you.
Congratulations again on the
Yes,
twins.
how awesome. Twins'
What-
first Christmas.
Well, what a holiday in store for you. Goodness.
Yes. Rest. Please rest.
Yeah. Find some time. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all my survivor friends. What an amazing episode this was. I love this new format of having the finale broken down into 2 episodes of 2 hours each, and that was so good because we got so much more to see. I was super happy. I got 2 vote out points for both Andy and Genevieve. I had thought Andy would definitely go, and Genevieve was because I truly wanted her to leave, so that came true. I was so disappointed when Genevieve won the puzzle in the first challenge, but hey, she did really well. She was so quick, it was amazing. But the second episode challenge was so nerve-wracking. I know I couldn't stop clapping when Rachel won. I was so cheering on Rachel. So I know Stacy's asked some questions. I think that the jury will not be bitter. That's what I feel. And whatever you may say, when people like Genevieve and Caroline and the others there and Saul, I think they will look at who's played a good game. I think the next person to go will definitely be Teeny in the fire challenge. The final 3, in my opinion, are going to be Rachel, Sam, and Sue. Sue will most probably be the no vote person. Maybe she will get one vote from Caroline, as Stacy mentioned, and definitely Rachel, I don't think will also get a clean sweep, but she will win. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I think she played a much better game than Sam. All in all, this season has been so much fun. As it has gone I have found that I liked some players in the beginning, then I didn't like them, and then I liked them, and I didn't like them. And case in point is Andy by the end. I liked him, but still his flip-flopping was amazing. And he did well to where he got. So I just can't wait for the finale. And I do hope my favorite girl wins. And that'll be nice to see an Asian American win finally. And so on that note, I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody else has to say. And cheers.
Cheers, Rashmi. Yeah, on the whole, it's definitely been a fun season. I agree with that sentiment 100%. Next up, we got a call from Sandi.
Hi, guys. This is Sandi from Atlanta. I was so not surprised to see Andy gone. My husband has disliked Andy from the first episode until the Italian job. And he was like, wow, that's so great. And there have been some really great moves. But my question is, how many moves like that can you make before you're gone? I mean, Rachel has made a great move, but I don't think they recognized it or saw her move. Andy's move was plain as day. So how many times can he flip? I don't know. Is it one? Is it two? I mean, I think that's something people should think about when you're making big moves. And then some friends of mine got me a life-size Jeff Probst. Really cute. And the people that gave it to me are watching past episodes. And I was just fascinated talking about some people that I recognized. And then they started talking about people I do not remember. No clue. I am groggy when it comes to all that detail. I mean, I have watched every episode ever. And I am getting where I'm like, I can't remember things. Okay, it's my age. I know. Of course, it's season 47, people. So let's not get confused on when I started listening to this. Anyway, that's all. I just felt like Andy he was doomed. And Genevieve, well, they can do whatever they want to. Now, do I think Rachel's going to end up at the end? Of course she is, because I dumped her as my USB and went with Teeny, because Rachel didn't start moving until after the merge, or anyway. So that's it. Y'all have a wonderful Christmas. I doubt I will be able to do this again because it's busy. All right, bye.
Thanks, Sandi. Yep, it's definitely a crazy time of the year. Joanne will show me pictures of Survivor groups, and you were doing that just this week, and we were looking and trying to remember who people were.
I was like, who is that? I know this one and this one and this one, but who's that?
With over 700 castaways that have played now, yeah, there's plenty of people I have absolutely no recollection of. I don't think they probably went deep in their season, but they're still active in the scene.
Right.
So, yeah.
But there's a lot of people that I don't know, and especially when we were seeing them live, at the big one where there were hundreds of survivors there. And it was like, oh, somebody would point out someone and I go, oh, that is them. It's like you really have to look in their face to see it. And then other people you obviously recognize easily. But yeah, it gets tougher and tougher as the years go along.
Like the pre-merge boots from early season, or even pre-30s. Those folks, some of those folks, I mean, there's some that stand out, like Dolly and...
Well, Wanda made herself...
Yeah, she made her mark.
Memorable.
Yes.
So, hey.
Yeah, there's some of them that certainly stand out, but then the ones that go second, third, fourth, things like that. You just don't have a recollection of.
Well, I do that by the end of the season. Like who?
They didn't make it. Well, fortunately, we got the roster for reinforcement with the season that we're watching. But yeah, naming some of the 46s could be hard at this point when we've been concentrating so much on 47.
Well, it started in the last couple years that I'm like, who won last season?
Yeah.
Who was in last season?
Yeah.
So sometimes the information is just not available.
Yep, it gets scrambled. All right,
well.
Thanks, Sandy. Next up, we got a call from Anderson.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, this is Anderson from North Carolina with my feedback for Week 13. Wow, what a great episode. I'm so mad. I had Andy and Genevieve going, and then literally 1 minute before the deadline, I changed it to Genevieve and Teeny because I thought they would start out Teeny for flip-flopping, but I realized my mistake about 2 minutes into the episode. Who I think's going to win the finale? I think if Rachel wins immunity, Rachel wins. If Sue or Teeny win and Sam and Rachel go to fire and Sam wins the game. If Sam wins immunity, he's going to have to step down and take out Rachel himself because who would trust Teeny and Sue to take Rachel out? Yeah, it's been fun. I really hope Sam wins because I need that extra 24 points because he's my USD 24. Last season, I changed my USD and someone else that was my second choice should have gone with my gut, and it ended up, not doing me the best. But this season went with my gut, and my USD's in the Final Four.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. I had Sam in my Final Four at the beginning of the season, and I think I also had Teeny in the Final Four. That's all from me for now. Hope you all have a happy holidays, and bye.
All right. Thanks, Anderson.
Yeah,
good job. Two of the Final Four.
Yeah, you're really getting a sense of it.
Yeah.
Next up, got an email from Liam in New York. Hi, Joanna, Stacy. Before I pass along my thoughts on the season, I wanted to share that the New Yorker, that venerable magazine of the East Coast intelligentsia, chose Survivor as one of its top 10 TV series of the year. They picked it at number 7. As much as many of us like to complain about the new era and Propp's many questionable decisions, as well as some of the terrible casting decisions of the past seasons, it's a tribute to the show that after nearly 50 seasons, Survivor has produced one of its best seasons. I agree. Like the other listeners, I've been delighted by this season and agree that it's undoubtedly the best of the new era and ranks up there as one of the best of all time. Thinking back on all the folks who got voted off before the merge, I feel like many of the early vote-offs each could have been good enough players to make it to the end, no doubt. Certainly with Keyshawn and Annika and maybe Rome, but that would just be chaos. And certainly would have been fun to see TK and Tiana in individual challenges. As much as we all have complained about the casting department, they did an outstanding job this year. Despite his day 3 meltdown, which was annoying and frustrating, in the end, Andy made the game more interesting and made some good moves. Agreed. I don't remember seeing another season with such a level playing field. Also, all 3 tribes seemed equally balanced throughout the whole game. Yeah, that definitely made a difference, didn't it? It felt like Survivor was firing on all cylinders this season. Like many other listeners, I'm cheering for Rachel to win the game. Her game has gotten better and better with each passing day. She is the complete package. She's had a good social game when needed, has become the rare female challenge beast, and has made it to the Final Four without a real alliance since Annika was voted out. There you go, right there. Her trying to steal pockets full of rice was inspired, and her use of the shot in the dark to read the room at the tribal council was brilliant and will change how the dumb shot in the dark is used moving forward. And then there have been all the immunity challenge wins, all that, and she seems like a good human being. In my book up to now, Dee has been the best winner of the new era, but she only won based on her 4-person tribal alliance. Although Dee was a strong player, that 4-person alliance sure made for a boring season. If she wins, Rachel belongs in the pantheon next to players like Tony, Parvati, Sandra, Tom Westman, and Jeremy. She might not have the big personality of those winners, but the new era is not about big personalities. It's about excellent and consistent gameplay in a field of other strong players with constantly shifting alliances. What a brilliant description of that. Here is my final four order. Rachel for the win. Sue, who will get 1 vote from Caroline. Teeny, who the winner of the final immunity challenge will pick because she has 0 chance of winning the game. Sam in 4th, who will lose the fire-making challenge. If Rachel wins, as most of us expect and hope, it will make a perfect ending to a great and delightful season. I hope you solve your housing woes and that life returns to normal soon. I know you don't talk about your personal lives too much, but I'm sure I'm not alone in guessing that you moved back to Georgia to be close to aging family members. And I hope you get much joy from being back where you were raised. Wishing you and my fellow listeners a wonderful holiday season and a great off season. And go, Rachel. Thanks, Liam. Good job.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Liam, and things are better. We're not anywhere near being done with all the things, but we've gotten a lot done. The room's been redone, and all the drainage has been, we now have French drains all the way around the house, and sump pumps, and so the drainage issue. And next up this coming week will be the what is it called? And
crawl space encapsulation.
Yes,
with term and a process I had never heard of.
With another sump pump and a dehumidifier, which may help keep the rest of the wood underneath the flooring
from collapsing out from under us. Okay.
But so we do have progress. So, Merry Christmas to us. And one of these days, I really want blinds for the front window because I really hate that everyone can just look in here.
Okay.
That's our goal.
You set off the list there, Liam.
Okay, sorry.
Thanks, Liam. Next up, we got a call from David.
Rachel does not count. Rachel does not count. Rachel does not count. And the screams from Pittsburgh were so loud they drowned out Pete's woohoos in Boston. Hey, Joanna and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh. And these last episodes of this season really delivered. There is nothing more exciting to see a plan put in motion, to watch it go to its fruition, just like last week's Operation Italy, and to see how it played out again tonight. I found it almost condescending the way everybody was going up to Rachel and letting her know that this was her demise. And at one point, when she was talking to Sue and she was thinking maybe she wouldn't play it, and Sue saying, no, you have to, I was starting to get really nervous because I thought, oh no, Rachel, you've got to play it tonight. Don't hold on to it. You've seen what happened the last season of Survivor. Exactly. But Andy's attempt at jury management really infuriated me. I've had a problem with him from the beginning of the game since his first meltdown. I've watched him kind of claw his way up, and so I was thinking, okay, he was the underdog, but anytime he did get his way or something happened that according to his plan, he had that smirk on his face, and he had that smirk on his face when he's telling Rachel how much he respected her. But of course, what he's doing is having her go and tell the jury how great he is. And so when they were at tribal council and she says it's Andy who flipped and everybody else is talking around it, and I thought, okay, good, Rachel, call it like it is. And then when she won the next challenge and they got Genevieve out, I was cheering. By the way, I haven't been playing JSFL because I screwed up in putting my votes in, but I have been playing it at home with 3 others. We do this every season, following your rules. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with myself. I'm even though I probably don't have the highest points in your JSFL, I've had 5 vote out points in this game, and one was when Sierra went on the jury. So I've been doing really, really well in predicting who's going to be voted out. Anyway, I'm just hoping next week she wins immunity. I don't want to see her go out making fire with Teeny and having Teeny win. I don't think Teeny or Sue have a chance. It's either Rachel or Sam. In this case, I really want Rachel to win, and I'll be disappointed just like the Charlie loss last season. Anyway, pumped up for next week. Talk to you guys then. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, David. I agree. As we're going through listener feedback, it's even stoking the fire more. Looking forward to the finale. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and here we are, another amazing episode of Survivor. 2 phenomenal votes tonight. I had Teeny and Sam as my vote-offs, which means I had everybody else safe, which means not great. So that's a thing. But still, I can celebrate the fact that this season continues to deliver, and especially this close to the end, things could get boring, and they didn't. They were phenomenal. Yeah, all right. It was Andy and Genevieve who got voted out, so you could have predicted it. But the way that it happened was so much fun. First of all, Rachel just running circles around everybody at Final Six was amazing. And I think that that's a benefit of not having a shot in the dark in the game, is that people are more apt to say, hey, I'm voting for you tonight, especially this close to the end. You want to build that favor, but also you've been with these people for a long time. So a lot of that emotion is real. Sam, Andy, and Rachel sitting on the beach when the rest were at the reward, that's real. Yeah, Rachel knows she's not going anywhere, but the emotion, the brother-esque relationship that is there, that's real. That is present. I think it's because there's not a shot in the dark. That's why this all played out, because they might have been a lot more cagey if there was still an obstacle to get around beside an idol, which y'all know that Genevieve's idol isn't real. Where are the idols? I don't know. Maybe you should have thought about that. I'll give him a little bit of grace. It's towards the end of the game. But I was just thinking, well, maybe y'all should think about this for a second. Who might have an idol? I don't know. Rachel? Sue? If you know that you don't have anything, maybe you should think about it for a second. But that was great. Andy basically sending himself home sums up his story. But then the next vote, equally as great, because there's so much confusion. They have everything handed to them, but then Sam almost gets himself voted off, just like Andy did, because they've been lying so much that they can't believe him. So it's just perfect. I love this. I love Survivor. Oh, what a great show. Come on. Also, I was confused that Teeny and Sue and Sam were so mad that Genevieve and Rachel were just talking to each other. Honestly, hey, one of us is about to win this. I really wish I could have gotten you out of there. Yeah, that's been the narrative for a long time. Sure, we have an audience perspective. In the game perspective, since Rome has gone home, it's been one of them has been a consistent target and a consistent threat. Everybody who's on the jury knows that and has seen them at tribal council pulling off different moves and things like that. So I don't think you have a right to be upset about this, because you've helped both of them at different points in time. So I don't know, man. Come on. And I do think that Genevieve is correct, and if it's not one of the two of them, it's gonna be Sam, because he has like the story, which is interesting. If he can do it, if Rachel somehow slips up immunity or fire next week, can Sam win this season? If not, I think he goes at fire. But I don't know. I'm really interested to see what happens here at the end, because I think that this episode really delivered, but I think that potentially next week is going to be a little boring. Fire is not as exciting as a vote, but I have faith in this cast. They've been a lot of fun. Really looking forward to next week. That's all I got. I'll see you all next time.
That was a really good point, Parker. I hadn't really thought about they had the freedom.
Significance.
Yeah, the significance of the shot in the dark not being there. Mm-hmm. And they felt free to just tell her.
Or at least Andy did, yeah.
That didn't really click.
That's right.
No, yeah, they just felt free to say, hey. Yeah. And I like it that Sue can keep a secret.
Yes.
You know, it's like, had Teeny had that information, then that would not have worked.
Nope.
But thank goodness it was Sue. But I was still kind of surprised how annoyed Sue got at Genevieve and Rachel. So
well,
I'm
Sue doesn't want to be
if
discounted
will,
in any way.
Well,
that's a big
and
chip
I don't
on her
blame
shoulder.
her for that. But I wonder if she will feel the same loyalty toward Rachel that she did the other people she was loyal to, Gabe and Caroline.
I wonder if Probst will recognize the significance of what Parker was just talking about.
Yeah.
The players gave the production company a chance they gave him a data point that shows, hey, the shot in the dark thing, completely unnecessary, and it's causing us to miss out on a whole new level of gameplay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I doubt it, because Probst is in love with all those things that he comes up with.
Because if Andy hadn't felt free to just go and sell himself to the next member of the jury, then
she wouldn't have known.
It wouldn't have come down that way, I don't think.
Right.
I mean, this way, she knew for sure she had to play it, because she may or may not have listened to Sue. Mm-hmm. But this way, she's like, oh, yep, I do have to play it. So, but I love that she kept her face straight and just went with it like, yep.
Her delivery was masterful.
You know,
that social aspect, that interaction on the beach with Sam and Andy, and how she tapped the emotion and used it as part of her deception. That was,
Yeah, because it would not have had that same impact if somebody was going to play a shot in the dark, or there was a chance, or everybody accepted no chance.
They would have been on guard.
Along, and then bam.
Yeah, good stuff.
It's nice when you know you're going to be okay the next morning.
Appreciate that deeper look. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Pat.
Yay.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pat from Missouri. This morning, I am driving through the dark desert somewhere between Needles and Barstow, California. It's nice and dark, about 3 o'clock in the morning. Wanted to give you some feedback about the episode. I think for myself, this has got to be the greatest episode ever. And that's solely because I got both vote out points. But also I lost my USB in Genevieve. But that's okay. I have no chance at winning. But just to get vote out points finally, and then to get both, I was so happy. But I hated to see Genevieve leave. I had a girlfriend several years ago that looked a lot like Genevieve, a lot of the same expressions. So every time I see her, I have flashbacks. Not necessarily great flashbacks always, but flashbacks. Oh, and a side note, I just saw a shooting star. But sorry,
Nice.
That's like squirrel. But I love the episode. It was great. And I just don't see anybody winning except that girl, what's her name? And then if she doesn't win, it's got to be Sam, because I just don't see anybody else getting a vote or deserving a vote. And speaking of them, every time I seen Teeny this episode talking about how lost she was and everything, I kept thinking of Joanne. And Joanne, I kept thinking of you, because now that you're back home in the South, and every time Teeny would just say something, I could just see Joanne saying, oh, bless your heart. And we all know what bless your heart means. So I love the episode. I'm still saying Carolyn's going to win. Oh, not Carolyn. I'm sorry. The other girl, Rachel. Rachel's going to win. But you know how hard it is to get these girls' names right, especially, like Sue can't even remember on the island. But I can't wait to see what happens. I think it's going to be Rachel. Rachel deserves it. We know that doesn't always happen, but I think it will this time. And that's all I got to say. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas
Merry
to you,
Christmas,
too.
Pat. And thank you for your other message, your personal message. And we did find loves along the way eventually. Mm-hmm. And did utilize that.
That would be Love's Truck Stop.
Yes.
That sounds funny when you say it that way.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yes, Love's Truck Stop. Had we known, though, we would have utilized it a couple of states before we did.
Sooner, yeah.
But we did find it, and it was like, oh, wow.
The very first one we went into turned out to be the best one.
It was
phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And the others were never as good as that one.
But still good.
Still good.
Yep.
Yes. Good place to stop along the way, and there's a lot of them.
Yes. Thanks again, Pat. Next up, we got an email from Thomas in Toronto.
Well, it's almost the end of another season of Survivor that started out okay, but after that, it has taken a turn for the worse, with the season being run by a group of vindictive people who only cared about who voted for them and really bad advantages from production. Saul screwed up with the advantage by saving Rachel, and then she got the stupid remove a vote from someone, and then got a lucky idol from the auction, which is now even more broken than it was before because of the stupid collection of the money thing, where people who get the most money get everything at the auction, and the ones who don't collect anything or smaller amounts are screwed out of it. Jeff needs to stop with losing votes and anything else that interferes with tribal council. And the Andy vote out was absolutely awful, and Jeff and production should be ashamed of it instead of patting themselves on the back for it working. That being said, I really hope that Sam wins and Rachel gets nothing. Hopefully, next season will be better. Otherwise, I don't think they'll make it to season 50. Well, all right, Thomas, thank you for sharing. I'm sorry that you haven't loved the season. We've enjoyed it, but...
Yeah, I've been wondering, I expected to get this feedback at some point because I've seen people having completely opposite reaction to it, like talking about how much superior 46 was to 47. And of course, I hold the...
that's life.
Yeah, I hold that opposite perspective. So we appreciate you sharing your thoughts there. Thanks, Thomas.
Well, I guess it would be a really boring world if we all felt exactly the same about everything.
For sure. Yep.
Okay.
We appreciate you sharing that. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hi, everyone. This is Kim from North Carolina. I think that was one of my favorite episodes ever. Andy got kicked out. That was awesome. And Rachel wins against Genevieve. My order from most deserving to least deserving is Rachel, Sue, Sam, Teeny. Even though it appears that Sue hasn't been that strategic, I don't think Sam has been the master of his own destiny. Can't wait to hear what everybody else says. Take care, everybody.
Good job. Thanks, Kim. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. First and foremost, man, it's been a terrible year for me in JSFL. Kim and I were texting before the Wednesday episode, and she was pointing out to me how low we were. And I don't think I got a single vote out all season, and I definitely lost safe points here and there. On top of Caroline, my USB being sent home a few weeks ago, nothing was looking up for me. But oh well, I had a really good season 46, and I'm excited for the next season, so onwards and upwards. This season, to me, Andy felt kind of like Cochran, but more of like a South Pacific Cochran, not really like a Caramoan Cochran. I'm talking the Cochran we saw, turn on his tribe and strategically choose to flip and really just show no love lost toward his peers. I felt kind of a similar essence from Andy, especially when he was telling Rachel goodbye, basically. I love you. I'll just be honest with you. Goodbye. We're voting you out. That was cocky, to say the least. And the way the edit showed him going home, among the castaways there and the audience, I'm sure there was no love lost whatsoever. Genevieve, I mostly actually disliked throughout the season. I thought earlier on, especially when she was constructing the vote out to take out Keyshawn and the way she was treating Saul, and the way she was insistent on siding with Rome at the time, all of that just felt wrong to me. Although in this last episode, I finally found myself feeling some sort of endearment toward her, in a point where I saw her game and I thought she actually played a pretty good game. So, sad to see her go, but who knows, maybe she'll be back again. With who we have left, it is really hard, in my opinion, to determine who's going to be the winner. Rachel has played the best game, clearly. Especially over the last month, Rachel has put together an insane resume that should win her the game securely. However, there are still a couple of layers. Fire, there's got to be fire made. And also, look at the last several winners. Marianne, Gabler, Kenzie, people like this, those are the middle winners. Those are the winners who get to final tribal council and then say their piece and prove to the jury that they are the ones to vote for. And who's to say someone like Sam or Teeny aren't like that? Sam is a sports writer, sports announcer in his real life. Yep. Teeny is a writer in hers, so both are clearly good with words and communicating to others. Sue owns a flight school, which means she is an instructor in some capacity. Clearly, she knows how to talk to others, especially others that she wants to listen to her. There are a lot of possibilities which could still happen, and honestly, while I feel like Rachel is the obvious choice, really the obvious choice might be one of the other three because of what's been going on. Joanne and Stacy, I look forward to everyone else's feedback. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. Thanks, Cameron. You reminded me of something that Genevieve said in one of her interviews. She said that one of the reasons she had such a tight connection with Rome early on was that she was ill. Like the first 3 days of the game, she wasn't doing well at all. And he was looking out for her. He was checking on her, bringing her stuff, things like that. And that made a
does make
bond.
a difference. Yeah, you bet it does.
That a little of that backstory that helps us understand things. And I agree with what Cameron said. We don't know what those perceptions are. They do guard that as part of the edit. That's why sometimes when they overguard it, the results leave us feeling so underwhelmed in how people are perceiving each other, and you end up with surprise winners when obviously you shouldn't. You should see the possibility clearer for each of them. I mean, that makes it more exciting to me, at least, when it's presented that way. Thanks, Cameron. Next up, we got a call from Enadina.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. This is Enadina from the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix. Wow. All I can say is wow. What a great... I was so riveted. Going into this episode, I thought it was Andy's world. It was Andy's to lose. It was kind of like an episode or the series Lost, where the incident is Andy going into his meltdown, and then from that point on, we're all in a dream sequence of Andy's making, with all the naming of the episodes and so much attention given to him. So that was so exciting. And then the Harry Potter and Voldemort reference. Oh my goodness. That just makes so much sense. It was so funny that they would compare themselves that way. I forget who said it. It was probably Rachel. But she does have a Harry Potter vibe. She's the girl. All her instincts seem wrong, but my goodness, she's lucky. She's so lucky. Even her instincts to vote out Sam were wrong, but once she's given all the information she needs, she comes through. I'm so excited to see who gets the main prize. For some reason, I don't think it's going to be Rachel. It might be Sam, but I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea who to pick. So have a very happy holiday. Much love to you and all the fans out there. Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas to you. And I like what you said, honey. You just said the girl who lives.
Oh, the girl who lived, yeah. Borrowing from Harry Potter.
Yes.
With going with Enadina's theme.
I got that, but I liked it in relation
it works,
to Rachel.
Right?
It does.
Let's see if she can hang on. Yeah. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, being a super fan is an addiction. I had back surgery on Tuesday, yet here I am with feedback. Hopefully the pain meds won't make it too much weirder than usual. My other observation, Sue said she wanted to rip Andy's head from his shoulders. That's not good jury management. Teeny said either Andy's better at the game or they're worse. Both can be true. The difference between flipping and being agile in the game is who's doing it. Teeny doesn't know which way to go. Do border collies herd goats? After the Andy vote out, Sue decided to play hard. Better late than never. Jeff says if you copy someone's puzzle, it means you're behind. Thanks, Captain Obvious. That's got to be a t-shirt where you show Probst and then underneath it says, thanks, Captain Obvious. When you want to spread information quickly, nothing beats a teeny-gram. What kinds of condiments does one use on a nothing burger? Mustard and ketchup? There are different kinds of drunks you meet at parties. Teeny is the talky kind. The ability to move recklessly through life and get underestimated won't win jury votes. Andy's closing 0 doors, but the tribe shut one in his face. Note to self, always look at Sue's expression when she makes a promise. Yeah. Andy said he respects Rachel as a friend. Once you're in the friend zone, you know it's over. I was very disappointed that Saul dressed normally for both votes. Andy blindsided Rachel 3 times. He won't have a chance to go for 4. The Voldemort Harry Potter analogy was appropriate because Harry is the boy who lived. There you go.
There you go.
Rachel's lucky number is 3. 3 immunity wins, 3 votes blocked. Will final 3 complete the trifecta?
I hope so.
Hat trick for Rachel. Teeny, the Canadian pronunciation of lawyer isn't liar. To paraphrase Mark Twain, the report of Rachel's death was exaggerated. Did Sue use her face as a plow to get through the sand pile? Andy convinced Rachel to vote it. That was Sue's strategy all along. Toughen up her face so she could use it to dig. Andy convinced Rachel to vote him out. The jury sounded like they were celebrating Rachel's idol play in a library. In the challenge, the stacked balls looked like piles of s'mores. Rachel finally knows what's going on. Teeny is jealous. Sanctuary is a weird restaurant. No salad, no soup, no veggies, no bread. Teeny fell into every single trap. Is she Wile E. Coyote? Rachel got a clue at the auction. Teeny still doesn't have one. Sam searched through Rachel's bag but didn't fold stuff afterwards. Rachel and Genevieve say that like recognizes like. Don't they repel too? That's good. I was never more confident than I'm less confident. Is Yogi Berra in the tribe? The island isn't big enough for both Rachel and Genevieve. Would Australia work? While Teeny dithered in the booth, it looked like Jeff was napping. Next time, the finale, part 2. Will the jury be attending a goat rodeo? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job.
And we hope you're healing up quickly.
Yes, we'll keep a good thought for you. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week's episode. A very good episode. I'm not just saying that, too, because I got full points in JSFL, although that definitely helps. But no, I really enjoyed it. Really good episode. So now that we've all had a time to think about it a little bit more, how do you all feel about having the finale split up? Jeff said on his podcast that this was a request from the network because they wanted to mess around with their schedule a little bit. Overall, for myself, I am perfectly okay with it. I know this sounds odd, but for me, selfishly, I like only having to pick a final 4 order than a final 5 order in JSFL. But if I could request any change to CBS when it comes to the finale, would be to put it back on Sunday nights. That's what I really, really want.
Yeah.
As for the 2 people voted out, of course, first, Genevieve. Genevieve, I thought, was a pretty solid player that kind of came on a little bit too early for her. She made herself a target too quickly, and, of course, eventually it caught up to her. And then we have Andy. When you think about the history of Survivor, I definitely would say that Andy probably had the most growth we may have ever seen in the player of Survivor. He had such a terrible start, but definitely made adjustments, and I feel like he got better, but not good enough to probably win. Part of the reason why I picked him to go home is because I felt like after that amazing move that they made in the previous episode, that the players would have, at that point, seen him as a huge threat. But after watching this episode, we found out that even Rachel really didn't consider him a threat until he opened his big mouth and laid everything out for her about his strategy. Now, I find that a little alarming that Rachel didn't recognize this, but of course, the biggest blunder coming from Andy himself. I understand he felt like he needed to at that point, but because he felt the need to do it, shows how poorly he was playing the game when it comes to the aspect of perception, because that's everything in his game. And clearly he's made such a bad impression on everyone that all the players felt like he wasn't worthy of winning. But I would be perfectly fine if he came back and give him a second chance at it. So what's going to happen in the finale? Well, clearly it looks like it's Rachel's game to lose. Right now, obviously, I think Rachel is going to be our winner. And maybe there's a slight chance of a Sam win. But Sam would have to take out Rachel, of course, to win. Now, if Sam and Rachel are there together, that could be interesting. But I'm still going to give the win to Rachel in that scenario as well. Considering how good Rachel is at the challenges, I think she wins the Final 4 challenge. I think that either Sue or Teeny is our no-vote third-place finisher. So that means at the moment I have Rachel winning, I have Sue in second, Teeny in third, and poor Sam loses to fire and is our fourth-place finisher. So that's what I have at the moment. I'm sure I'll probably change my mind. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Excellent. Great analysis as usual. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. And here are my thoughts on the penultimate episode of Survivor. Jeff loves his themes, so much so that he has to explicitly explain all of them to us before the show begins.
Yeah.
What would I do without him? I might actually form my own impressions on the show. But I'm only half serious about this. Keep being you, Jeff. I actually like seeing his enthusiasm for the show after all these years. He really loves the legacy that he has built, and I got to give him props for that. So preach on, Jeff. This has been a really good season. But enough about Jeff. My Andy is gone. I'm very sorry to see him go, but he brought this on himself. He played his heart out, and I have enjoyed rooting for him this entire season. It wasn't always pretty to watch. In fact, a lot of the time it wasn't pretty to watch. But he was a lovable villain, and I don't think this is the last we will see of Andy. Back at camp, I love the fact that Rachel does not stop playing this game for a second. In pitch black darkness, she goes and finds the rest of the group, hides and listens to everything they have to say. Bravo. The only downside to all that she overheard was there have been so many lies told in this season that you don't know what the truth is and what the lie is. And that was the fun of this episode, watching everyone try to sift through all of the information that they had and trying to figure out what is the truth and what is a lie. I want to give Sue props for keeping her idol a secret and maneuvering herself in the game and not having to use it. I don't think it's enough to help her win the game, but I think it's very impressive that she found the idol, the red-handed idol, in fact, so early in the season, and despite all the evidence that was left behind, no one was able to ever link it to her. That is definitely a feather in her cap if she makes it to the final tribal council and is able to argue her case. Now, switching gears to Teenie. Teenie spent this whole episode, all 2 hours of it, being completely frustrated. And it dawned on me while watching her this episode that I don't think Teenie has ever been kept out of the loop for anything ever in her life. I think she probably is always at the center of the action, at the center of her friendships. And I mean that as a compliment. So being out of the loop, I'm sure, has been eye-opening. Anyway, here are my predictions about the Final Four. I don't think Teenie is going to be the one that goes out fourth. I think that she will be the one who is brought to the final three without making fire. She's the easiest to beat, and there isn't a scenario with any of the other three in which denying someone the right to be victorious in fire would diminish their game. So, among Sam, Rachel, and Sue, whoever wins final immunity, it behooves them to take Teenie and give her the pass to the final tribal council and make the other two make fire. So what that means is I think my final order will be Sam wins final immunity, he brings Teenie along and makes Rachel and Sue make fire. Rachel wins, putting Sue in fourth place. Teenie will come in third, Sam second, and Rachel will win Survivor. I cannot wait to hear everyone else's predictions, and I can't wait for Wednesday for the finale of this awesome season of Survivor. Till next week.
Excellent. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate you breaking it down like that. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and oh boy, do we have so many things to discuss. It was another great episode. I loved it all, even though I initially thought they were just going to stretch things out for 2 hours for some reason or another, but that didn't appear to be the case at all. So, without further ado, as for Andy's demise, I have to say that I was relieved to see him go. I was really starting to worry that he might win. His edit was so confounding to me that I was never really sure if he was being set up to be a fool or a winner. And although I'm glad to see him exit the game, I have to say that you, Stacy, got me really thinking that if Andy hadn't had that meltdown, would I view him differently? Well, they certainly would have edited him differently, so yeah, who knows. But I will admit there was more to him than I initially thought. And it pains me to say that, but you know what? I also feel that Teenie isn't any better than Andy was when I look at him in his worst light. Yeah, she's young, but she's so completely out of her depth here. I do have to say that I love Rachel, and I think that most people at this point do, but I also have to say that I really like Genevieve as well. And when Sam, Sue, and Teenie were getting upset that Rachel and Genevieve were discounting them as players, I think they actually had it all wrong. Rach and Jen weren't saying that the game was only either of theirs to win. They were just saying that they stood a better chance of winning if the other one wasn't there. Let's face it, no one was ever talking about how imperative it was to get rid of Teenie or Sue. So, yeah, they're backseat characters in this season. They've never come up with moves to play out. They only helped others get ahead. Sam, though, yeah, he can feel discounted because he has always been trying to twist the game in his direction, but the other two, not at all. And I was happy to hear the Sue is Carolyn from season 44 reference that you made, Stacy, because lately it's all I've been seeing. But you know, in that challenge where they had to dig through the sand and squeeze under the bar, Sue figured out that the easiest way through was from the side, which proved to me that she's more than just a dirty face. As for her stumbling around when she first got up in the morning, well, if she thinks that's bad now, just wait until she gets into her 50s. And although I feel a bit uncomfortable taking so many pot shots at Sue, I have to tell you that I just about lost it when Taz said to me while Sue was on the screen, "Hey, if you put a blonde wig on the Crypt Keeper, you have Sue." Okay, and you know I loved when Teenie took so long to cast her vote because I was laughing out loud when they showed Jeff looking so bored standing there waiting for her to commit. Yeah, we all know you're confused, but come on, Teenie, cast your vote. It never really seems to matter anyway. I was honestly waiting for Teenie to come out, and then we'd have Jeff say, "I'm going to go eat breakfast, and then I'm going to tally the votes." So we are at the end of the game, and first of all, I want to say that I would have loved to have seen a final three of Rachel, Genevieve, and Sam, but that obviously isn't going to happen. And my low JSFL score proves how unpredictable I found this season to be, so I almost hate to say it, but my final outcome actually seems quite logical to me. I'm saying that Rachel wins, with Sam coming in second and Sue third. And that means that Teenie loses making fire unless Rachel wins the challenge and decides to go up against Sam herself. Honestly, I never feel that the winner of the challenge should have to go up against their biggest competitor, but it has been somewhat expected of late. But that's only because what's-his-name was pulled back into the game on edge of extinction after he had missed the entire part of the game where the tribes merged, and he needed to do something to gain respect to gather votes. Still, I'm sticking with Rachel for the win, followed by Sam, then Sue. And finally Teenie, who has no business being here whatsoever, just like what's-his-name. So, I guess that's it for me. Everyone enjoy the finale, and I will catch you all next week. Bye.
Outstanding. Thanks, Paul. Either having Teenie take Sam out or Sue take Sam out. That would be the height of the height of the fire-making challenge. It seems unlikely that it would be Teenie, but having Sam take Teenie out just suits her narrative so well, or their narrative so well, since Teenie's been targeting Sam so much during the season, and having him get her one more time, that would be funny. So I definitely see that order.
Oh yeah, me too. That's my most popular thought process. Not that I don't have lots of others, but
yeah.
But that seems to be the main one that I come back to.
How much of an impact is it going to have for Sue? Say Sue does win the fire-making challenge somehow. She takes Rachel out. Then she drops the bomb. Hey, I'm really 59, not 45.
And I kept up with all of you.
And I had the red-handed idol, and
I won an immunity.
Yeah.
Did you win an immunity?
Right.
Kyle did. But, she might have some agency.
There's some potential there that I hadn't truly accounted for.
More than Teenie has, I think. But then I don't know.
I can't think of something equivalent for Teenie. That I'm struggling.
Well, but what we can't discount is that it also depends on how well the jury likes a person sometimes too.
Right. That's the big social factor, the X factor that is so hard to account for.
Yep. They're like, but we really like her and we want to see her. Then they've already flipped back into real life. The jury has.
And Saul in his Ponderosa video was talking about what an amazing friend Teenie has been at that point in the game, and how he's looking forward to being friends with Teenie going forward in life. So that could be a powerful advocate. And Genevieve's going to feel a little guilty for spinning Teenie around.
Will she?
Maybe. She could. I'm just trying to think of what's going to build some impetus for a Teenie vote.
Yeah, I don't know. You just don't know what the jury's going to do, and that's why Survivor's always different, because you can't always predict what a jury will do. And I think sometimes they just want to do something different, and they do.
Sue's last Tuku, Teenie's last Lavo. So I guess there could be 3 votes for Sue, although, because Kyle didn't know how mean Sue was being to him. He said in his exit interviews, So he could potentially end up throwing a vote Sue's way. I don't...
Well, surely somebody told him before the final tribal vote.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it came up at Ponderosa. Who's going to tell him? Gabe? Yeah, maybe Gabe would. Caroline wouldn't. She wouldn't present Sue in anything but a positive light. She's a big Sue stan.
Well, there's a lot of different ways it could go, for sure. What are you leaning toward right this minute? I'm kind of with Paul at the moment.
I really, really want Rachel to win. And
I do too.
I hadn't thought of it until we were just recording that how fun it would be if Sue took Sam out and you had an all-women final three.
Oh, I had.
If Sue was this big Sam killer,
because you
taking
don't
down
see that often.
Mm-hmm. In fire making. Not sure. I could totally see Rachel having the gumption to go up to winning the immunity, and I kind of got to think that it may not play to her strengths, but she is the type that might win immunity and go ahead and decide, I'm going to put myself in fire making. So that would seem to be a lock.
That makes me too nervous.
That would be, you'd be very anxious in the fire making challenge for sure.
No.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it would be.
You just earned your way there.
Right. It doesn't seem like it would necessarily feel like it would be necessary, but she just got rocked with that information from Andy. She just got an education on how little she was aware of in terms of what had happened with Operation Italy.
Not and that as much as Teeny.
It's yeah, true. It's got, well, that's why I'm saying that could factor in to her decision.
And obviously, Sue kept Rachel's secrets, and she didn't go over to the other side necessarily, but because they were all speaking their truth honestly and who they were going to vote for, she's told them, yeah, no, I'm not voting for her.
Right.
Don't really
Deal
care
with
what
it.
you think. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't matter to me what you think. So I'm not going to do it. And you don't need me. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, so to finish answering your question, definitely I'm a fan of Rachel, and that it would probably be an even more satisfying win if Rachel faced off against Sam and Sue. Yeah, like Paul was saying in terms of that order. That would be, she would have overcome even more to having beaten
now,
Sam.
If Sam won the final immunity, I could see him feeling like he needed some extra leverage going into the final jury, and I could see him take on Rachel.
Which he would probably be anxious about, because there's been talk about Rachel being good at fire making, and I'm sure he knows that from being with her from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he might chicken out.
Well, it will be interesting to watch, however.
Yeah. The only unsatisfactory win that I don't feel like I could grasp or understand is if somehow Teeny ends up winning.
Then to me, it would be a total social win in that they like her.
That we had any insight.
Everybody liked her.
Any insight into that the Teeny, aw, shucks, me, really? You really like me kind of vibe that she has, along with having a weasel vibe too. But yeah, if that one would be unsatisfactory.
That was harsh.
What? She does have a weasel vibe. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not seeing what you're seeing, but you mean
in terms of the whole season, how she's maneuvered.
a flipper like Andy. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back.
Yeah.
Whoever, but that's part of the game.
It certainly is a way that you can choose to play. Absolutely. Depending on your circumstance, that's what generally guides that decision.
Okay.
It's like, I got to get agency somewhere. I got to get in the majority.
Yep.
That would be the only one that would be unsatisfactory that I don't see yet. That would require the classic after finale interviews to really get a handle on.
Yes, I would definitely like it best if Rachel wins.
Right now, I'm enjoying thinking about Rachel's win from that perspective. Wow, thanks to everybody who took time to share your thoughts and predictions today. That was fantastic. We enjoyed that. You obviously got the juices flowing, thinking about different scenarios, coming at it from different angles, even looking at the whole season from a different perspective. We enjoyed that. We appreciate getting to hear from all of you, and we understand and know the effort it takes to participate in the podcast. Thank you so much. We also want to give a big thanks to Michelle for your donation. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much for that, helping with our operational costs.
And if you're playing JSFL, remember to record your final 4 order. There's no safe points this week.
Don't got to worry about that. Just get the order right.
Yes.
It should be easy.
No matter what your score is, there's a possible 50 points available to you for the final 4 alone. And then if you have any USB point to add in. So the scores can drastically change.
Not only can, they do.
They do.
Speaking of JSFL, how about an update? We weren't able to give an update
do that.
after the recap.
John R. is still in first with 63 points.
Go John
wow,
R.
That's way ahead of mine. 17 people lost their USB for Andy and 29 for Genevieve. 134 people lost a safe point for Andy and 105 for Genevieve. 110 people earned a vote-off point for Andy and 158 for Genevieve.
Nice.
The side challengers, Jeremiah still in first with 57, with 54 Rebecca, 53 Justin, 52 Lisa Ray and Robert, with 49 Anderson and Stacy, and with 44 Parker.
Okay.
This is your big chance, Parker.
Yeah, you got to nail that order. Good stuff. We will be back on Wednesday with our finale recap. We're excited, looking forward to it, and looking forward to wrapping this whole season up with you after that. Have a good one.